Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So strange every time. I'm not sure if we're live or not,
I
but yeah.
know.
Can you see it?
Pause.
Ah,
Yes. Yeah, we are.
awesome. Hi,
We're
everyone. Happy Tuesday. And on Tuesday, we get together for the Leaders Impact Lab. So today we're talking about motivation, and more specifically, how to increase motivation, employee motivation, so you can get back your time. All right. So if you are familiar with the concept of motivation and you are wanting to keep your team motivated, you might have been experiencing just feeling like you have to do a lot. You have to work hard to keep everyone motivated. You have to keep them accountable. It's taking up a lot of your time and attention to do that. And you might be feeling a little bit tired. And I know for myself, when I was there, I was feeling like, why do I have to keep them motivated? Like, why can't they just do the work? Why can't they just do what they're paid to do? Right. So today we're going to talk about how to create some shifts in terms of motivation to switch from external motivation to internal motivation so that you can get that time back. So you can have both great motivation within your team, as well as your time to take care of the important work that's on your desk. So if that is something you want to stick with me over the next 30 minutes. We're going to cover some really great content and practical ways that you can bring back to the workplace today and start increasing that motivation and get back your time. So for those who don't know me yet, my name is Melissa. So if we haven't met, let's connect. I'm an executive coach and a management consultant. So what I do every day is I work with leaders. I work with leaders such as yourself who are looking to increase their influence, to have a bigger impact in their workplace, and to have a positive impact on their workplace culture. So just to give you a little bit about me and my background, so you can feel comfortable in learning from me in the next 30 to 40 minutes here. I've been doing this for a number of years. I've trained and I've been focused on leading people first. And what that means is a focus on the people side of business in order to get things done. And I have touched more than 350 leaders over the past year. I just discovered this, was it last week or the week before I made those calculations, and it blew my mind. I work with a lot of leaders and I help them implement the things that I share with you on these live videos. So some of my background, some of my training, there's actually really three pillars that I weave into my work that's been really, really important and critical for my clients to get the results that they're seeking. First is choice theory, reality therapy, and lead management. So just to give you a sample of what I mean when I'm saying these fancy words, choice theory is the understanding of behavior, how people are making choices and why they behave in the way that they do. Reality therapy is a communication process that leads people through the process of change or transformation. And lead management is how you take those two things and weave it into your workplace. So I'm actually certified in this, and I am a practicum supervisor. So I'm part of the faculty with William Glasser International, and I am becoming an instructor. So this has been a very long journey for me. It's been a commitment. The next pillar is emotional intelligence. So another concept that I have really dug into and learn how to practice and bring the practice back to my clients. So emotional intelligence is not just a one and done. It's not just something that I've taken over a weekend and said, hey, I'm certified in this, come to me. It's been ongoing for the past 5 years. I spend hours every week deepening my learning and making sure that I'm always up to date with what's going on and how to weave this into the workplace. So emotional intelligence is my second pillar. My third pillar is trust facilitation. So I have studied deeply trust with a leading trust expert. So I was fortunate to be taken under this person's wings. And so for the past 3 years, I have been deepening my knowledge, my understanding of trust and how to facilitate trust, especially in the workplace and in terms of resolving conflict and impacting culture. And I'm an advanced trust facilitator. I don't know if I mentioned that, but just to give you a background of where these ideas, all of the things that I'm talking about, where it's coming from. So I weave these 3 pillars into my work every day, into every video, into every training, into every coaching session. And that is my flavor. Kelsie-Ann is joining me today, and Kelsie-Ann is part of my team. She's my director of marketing, and she's a great companion. And I love the fact that she's willing to come on here and have these discussions with me. So Kelsie-Ann, tell us a little bit about you. What would you like the audience to know today?
Well, I am your marketing director and of PR and marketing, your director of marketing and PR. I am your right hand. I am your employee, but more like a partner. And this is a dynamic that I've never had in an like an employee-employer relationship, and it's very refreshing. So yes,
Yeah,
that's in a nutshell.
I think something that Kelsie-Ann brings to the table are real life examples of what it's like, how things can be different in the workplace, and her experience, how it's impacting her and her perspectives, because she's been in different types of environment. As leaders, we can sometimes lose touch with, what it's like to be an employee. And it's not because we're bad people, we have bad intentions. It's just because there's a lot of stress. We carry a lot of responsibilities. And so we're seeing things from a different perspective. And over time, even though we can think we know what it's like to be an employee, we are coming from and looking at it from a different perspective. So it's important to stay in touch with that employee perspective. So thank you, Kelsie-Ann, for joining me, for participating, for, rolling with the punches. I know I put you on the spot. I ask you questions. She has no idea what's coming. So she's always willing to participate. So I appreciate that very much.
Of course.
So let's talk about motivation. What motivates people?
Depends on the person.
Depends on the person. That's very true.
So yeah, you gotta kind of, as a leader, figure that out and then work with that.
So in the typical, what we've learned in the workplace is we've learned about external motivation. We've learned about sticks and carrots. We've learned about rewarding and punishing in order to get what we want. The problem with rewarding and punishing, it relies on someone, you as a leader, to be overviewing, to keep tabs on everything, to surveil what is going on so that you can reinforce the stick or the carrot. And that takes time, that takes attention. And the bigger your staff, the more people you are taking care of, the more time and attention you're going to put to monitoring this and reinforcing it. That's why we're running out of time. And we actually don't have time for this. So what happens to motivation if we're not taking care of it?
Gone.
And then we feel like, where are people? Why aren't they showing up? They're showing up in physical body, but they're not showing up mentally and emotionally connected and invested in doing the work. So today I want to give you 3 real life things that you can do in order to switch from that external motivation to internal motivation. What internal motivation means is you are going to kickstart that internal fire. Fire that people can, that passion and that motivation is coming from the inside, and people can maintain it themselves. And the more you can tap into that intrinsic or that internal motivation, the less work you need to put into it, the more time you get back.
Mm.
How does that sound? Give me a thumbs up if that sounds good to you. And by the way, we've just introduced ourselves, but say hi if you're here. I love to know who's here. I love to know what you're thinking, participate. This can be highly interactive. And learning is always more fun when it's interactive.
Definitely.
So as you're thinking about that shift, Kelsie-Ann, I'm introducing that shift from external to internal. What's coming up for you?
I think what's coming up for me is, as an employee, like, how am I going to maintain my own internal motivation, right? And how do I do that for my leader, right? So that's just kind of what came up right now for me. But I think for the leaders watching, it might be like, well, how do I, if I can't use carrot and sticks, like, what do I use?
Right.
Like, what's my option here?
And I'm definitely going to share that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to motivation, there's, in my world, what we would call 3 pulse points. There are 3 things that really will make a difference for internal or intrinsic motivation that do not require carrots or sticks. And the first one is, it's autonomy. And one really good thing that you can do for autonomy, and this is the what it looks like in practice if you really want to increase autonomy, is to stop telling and start listening. So from the leader standpoint, this is what you need to do. Stop telling and start listening. That can be hard because we can see the landscape. We have the experience. We know what needs to be done. We've done it before. It's very easy to tell people what to do. It's very easy to tell people what the solution is. It's very easy to tell people how to solve problems. What happens when we tell is we step on people's sense of power and freedom. It's easy to tell when we can see what's right and what should be done. And it feels, because we don't have enough time, it feels like the thing to do. I'm just going to jump in and take control and do the thing, or tell them how to do the thing. So stepping back and ask questions and listen and support the person to find those solutions and to increase the autonomy. Kelsie-Ann, how much autonomy do you feel in your role?
So much. Almost a little too much some days. No. It's in a good way though, and because we've had many conversations. of you asking me what I need to make myself successful. And it really does make me kind of reflect in, like, what do I actually need when I say I can't do X, or I'm having troubles with Y, or whatever it is. Um, you've definitely created that relationship where I can come to you and say, "Hey, Melissa, I think we need to book a Zoom call and do a work session on K, because I need some help. I need some assistance." Yeah, no problem. We'll figure it out. Like, I really do appreciate that.
And then when we do get on the call, what happens?
Um, you ask a lot of questions. You're always asking questions, but sometimes, and actually oftentimes, you have me lead the session, which makes me be an active part in, you're not telling me, very many things. Um, Oftentimes you're just, answering my questions, because I'm the one that's kind of touching everything. And oftentimes we're doing it on Zoom.
Mhm.
Or I shouldn't say oftentimes, we always do. And you give me screen control. So I'm sharing my screen and you're kind of we're walking through it together, but I'm leading the presentation for the showing.
So you are leading, and I'm asking you things like, so for those of you listening, I want to give you like concrete examples of how I do this. I'm asking things like, okay, so tell me about this. What's worth exploring here? What else? Where do we go next? What are the next steps for you? What will you need? What would success look like? What happens if you struggle? Who else needs to be roped into this? Do you need any other help? Is there a resource? Is there something that you need in terms of a structure?
Mhm.
But you have the autonomy to create your success.
Definitely.
You have the autonomy of deciding how you want to work. So here are the tools that are currently available. Is this working for you? How can you transform that in something that does work for you? For example, we had some tools that were set up on spreadsheets. And instead, Kelsie-Ann decided that she didn't like the way that it was. And she transformed, she took all of the pieces and put it on a Trello board and organized herself in that way. That was better for her. So I didn't drag you through doing the work. I didn't set up the board for you. I didn't tell you what to do. You did it all yourself.
Yeah.
So that is giving autonomy. The second pulse point is meaning. And we give meaning. So you as a leader, what you can do to increase meaning and purpose, if you will, you can connect the dots. Okay, so something that's really beautiful as a leader is we have a bigger, broader view of the landscape here. We understand why things are happening, what's connected to what, how things are having an impact, why things are important. And really, everything is important. If it's worth doing, right? If it's having some purpose, then it has meaning. But employees come in with this focus on their role. And over time, even if it felt meaningful at some point, over time, we forget why this was meaningful. We forget what's the point of the work that we're doing. And as we feel more isolated and disconnected from meaning, our motivation goes down. So connecting the dots can look like helping them see a broader view of how their work, the work that's on their desk is impacting their team, their neighbors, their colleagues, other departments, the customer, how it's advancing the strategic goals. So help them see and help them connect the dots so that they feel like what they're doing is worth something. So Kelsie-Ann, where do you find meaning in your role? Let's just trying to draw out some really concrete examples here as you're listening so that you can bring it back to the workplace for yourself.
I think that's something like I go back to the shared values that we have and with the business of, leading people first and really connect, real connections and yeah, totally lost my train of thought. Noise outside. Leading people first.
So it sounds like the what we stand for
Yes.
and how we're impacting our community and society
Yes.
has been fueling that meaning for you.
Definitely that we are changing, we've changed 350 people, like the way that they're leading in the world and their perspective. And, they're taking a step back and asking more questions and not necessarily telling people what to do, but asking those questions. So like knowing that those ripples are out there because of, attending the workshops or EQ cafe or whatever the leader had or working one-on-one with you. Knowing that leader is out there impacting their team and that the team is likely producing more because they're happy. You know what I mean? It's just this wonderful ripple effect that it's really cool to think that they're continuing and we don't even realize how far those ripples are actually going out further than those 350 leaders that we've had those interactions with more personally.
Yeah. So one way of connecting the dots in a situation like this would be showing your employee reviews, customer reviews, real stories of how the work that we're doing collectively is having an impact. And if you can draw a direct line between what that person has done and the impact, that's even better.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, you helped set up this call, and on this call, we were able to achieve XYZ. And this leader was able to do blah impact. So that would be a way for me to help Kelsie-Ann connect what she's doing day to day with the impact that we're having as a team. All right. So connecting the dots, does that feel solid to you? Bring in more meaning. And believe me, meaning goes a long way.
And I would think as a leader too, it's almost a reminder for you as well of the meaning of why you're doing what you're doing. Because I would think I'm with our team, I'm just stepping into a leadership role. Yeah. And even then, I've never really had this role before, which has its own challenges as like a new leader compared to yourself as a seasoned leader. But to remind yourself, to me, that sometimes would get a little blurry because you have a hard role as a leader. It is challenging to take that step back and ask those questions and not just say, okay, well, I can get this done. Like, this is how you do it. And this is the most efficient way. And like, the bottom line is the bottom line, but I can see how that's very, very challenging.
And it's so easy to say this is the bottom line, except that won't do anything for motivation. And you're not actually saving time because you have to keep laying down the bottom line. All right. So far we have stop telling, start asking and listening.
Mhm.
And we have connecting the dots.
Mhm.
All right. The third pulse point is mastery. So how do you leverage mastery? You do it by fully leveraging that employee's skills. Okay. One of the things that I hear a lot from employees is they're unhappy with their role and they don't feel motivated by the work that they're doing because they know that they have skills. They can do a lot more and they're underutilized. So when they talk to me about the ideal situation, they tell me, I want to do meaningful work, have a voice at the table, have some say over the work that I'm doing, and using all of my skills in my contributions. So there's something that we do when we're bringing people on board is we set up a role, we set up a description of that role, we create kind of like a box. And then we go out and we try to recruit and find talent that will fit that box. Your talent might not fit the box exactly. And that is the case most of the time. They might fit that box and yet they've, and more.
Mhm.
So one of your jobs as a leader is to understand that what more, how are they fitting this box?
Mhm.
Does this box make sense? Can we expand the box? Can we change the shape of the box? How can
Maybe it's a
we,
triangle.
is this a triangle? Exactly. So what can we do here to leverage that person's best skills so they feel masterful in their work? When you feel like you are fully utilized and you are winning, you are the master of this domain, you go in and you crush it every day. That is motivating. If you're in a role where you don't feel like you're succeeding, you're always falling short, that's demotivating.
Mhm.
So how do these employees feel in their role? And are we really utilizing their skills? That you will not be able to answer these questions unless you talk to your employees. Unless you do this, we have many opportunities in the run of a year, performance reviews being one of them. Performance reviews can be more than just evaluating someone. Performance reviews could be about evaluating together how this position fits and what could be different.
Not once did, like, I'm just thinking back, that made me think of like when I was working corporate and had, you know, scheduled reviews. Not once was that those roles, those boxes ever, you were made to fit that box. Like, you were asked to fit that box. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to
So
have a voice in that would have been really cool.
yeah. So how are we together, Kelsie-Ann, optimizing mastery for you? How are we leveraging your skills? What does this look like on the floor?
On the floor. I think we've done a really good job of sussing out some of my strengths and kind of, okay, like Canva work. I know you really enjoy it, but I really enjoy it. And you've been so busy with calls and your clients that like I've taken over a lot of the Canva work and I'm really enjoying that and the creativity that I get to to do in that program would be one example.
So you're very creative, and that is something that we both know. So that's something that we weave in. What else? And how, so I guess my question might be more like, how did we arrive there? What did that process of finding and leveraging your skills look like? If you were aware of it.
Yeah, I don't know if I was necessarily aware of it, but we've had many work sessions. We've had many discussions about what's working, what's not working, and the tools that we're using. And we've switched up some of the tools, and we've switched how we use the tools and how when the tools are used, and to fit more of me in this role versus the person that was in the role previous to me, because what worked for them wasn't really working for me.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have an employer that was open to me changing the system, because it turned out it really wasn't working for everybody. Right. And now I feel like we're getting more to a system that's working for the team. Right. Because we're all having a voice in how this is working. It's not just one person say, and we're actually working together to try to streamline it.
Yeah. So some of the things that have happened is constant communication about how you were feeling, the big F word, in your role. And when you feel masterful. So what is working? When do you feel the most masterful? What's not quite working? And when were times when you felt masterful doing these things, and what was different? So constantly adjusting so that you can have more of that feeling of mastery in your day-to-day. And looking at those places that you're not feeling successful. That doesn't necessarily mean taking those things off your plate.
Yeah.
But maybe adjusting the measures of success, adjusting the expectations, setting up growth plans, so development plans, so that you can work towards mastery, even if you're not masterful yet. All right. So the 3 pulse points when it comes to motivation: autonomy. Stop telling, start asking and listening. Second, meaning. Help them connect the dots to give meaning to the work that they're doing. And third is mastery. So how do you leverage their skills and help them feel masterful in their role right now? And when you get those 3 things right, people feel motivated. They enjoy coming to work. They get their needs met from their work. You don't have to go chasing. You don't have to keep them accountable. You don't have to use carrots and sticks as much anyway. Because people show up because they want to be there and they get something from doing the work. This is all easier said than done, because this is part of a practice. This is not just a one conversation. This is a way of being. This is something that we weave into every conversations every day, because I am aware of it and I strive to practice it. So if you want to bring these things to the workplace and you want to develop this practice so that you are tapping into the intrinsic motivation, I can help you with that. And I'm currently offering the Executive Edge program. So I just announced it last week. The doors are closing on Wednesday. So you need to get your application in, or at least your consultation booked, if you want to explore this opportunity. The Executive Edge program is a program for leaders, for managers and executives who want to increase their influence, who want to lead effective communication in the workplace, and who want to have a positive impact on their workplace culture, so that we can both get great work done together collaboratively and enjoy the work and enjoy doing it together. We spend a lot of time at work. It would be nice to enjoy your time at work. So the Executive Edge program is an 8-week program. Are we frozen?
I'm back now. You were frozen for a bit.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right, so let me back it up maybe a minute or two. The Executive Edge program is for executives, managers, and leaders who want to lead effective communication in the workplace, who want to increase their influence and have a greater impact, a positive impact on the workplace culture, so that people are showing up, doing the work, and enjoying the work that they do every day. That is a beautiful feeling that I want every workplace to have. So there's a few things that is different about my program. So if you've taken leadership training before, and I can tell you, if you are listening to this right now, I know you've been down this road. So I want to be very clear on what is different about me, because there's something that my clients discover when they start working with me that blows them away. And they're like, people don't know this. Not enough people know what you do, and it's magic. So one of the things that really sets me apart, and the way that I approach leadership development, is that I approach it like a practice. So we do learning, right? We will explore concepts, but we do not stop at concepts. We translate all of those concepts into practice. So when we look at something like emotional intelligence, which is one of the people skills that will give you the edge, that will set you apart. Emotional intelligence affects culture and climate. That affects engagement, which predicts your performance. All right. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, we're going to go way beyond a concept, and you're going to learn how to weave into this to every conversation, so that you can have conversations like Kelsie-Ann and I just talked about. And it's not going to feel effortful. It's going to feel easy and comfortable and normal to be in this way when you strengthen your practice. All right. When stress shows up in the workplace, all of those beautiful concepts we have, they go out the door. So it's important that we strengthen the practice now, so that you can be at your best when it matters the most. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, customized strategy. There is no one size fits all. You're not going to get a book, do the thing, it's going to work for you. That is not my approach to leadership development, because we're dealing with you. You are a unique person. You have a unique EQ profile. Every individual on your team and your team dynamic is unique, and you are in a unique environment in terms of culture, in terms of structures. You might be dealing with unions, different set of values, different way of operating within
Managing up, managing down.
So all of these things inform the strategy that we'll design for you together, so that you can be successful in implementing these things that you're learning. So if you've taken training and it has stayed, on the back burner, and you haven't used it yet because you didn't get the opportunity, that's not gonna fly here. I make sure that everything that you're learning, you're using right now. And because you're starting to use it right now, you're starting the practice immediately, you start getting results right now. So you don't have to wait 6 months to get results. You get results right now as we're going through it. So I'm supporting your practice through and beyond. And the other thing that's different is I measure. So I use validated assessments to see where you're at before and after. So your assessment will help with that custom strategy, but we're going to be able to capture and lock in those measurable results. So in 8 weeks, you're going to go through a transformation, who you are as a leader, and you're going to step into that trusted advisor that has impact. Impact with your team, impact with your colleagues, and impact with higher management, with executives, with decision makers. You're going to get a lot more autonomy and meaning. All right. And mastery, of course. So if this sounds interesting to you, if you want to head into 2023 having a different experience, enjoying the work that you're doing, having your team behind you and knowing you can trust them, and having your ideas really reflected in the company, then this is the opportunity for you. 6 seats, half of which are already taken, and I am going through and I have consultations on my calendar. So I've been taking calls. So these seats are going to go fast. If you want to get your foot in the door, this is the time to book your call. Do it now. You have to get on my calendar before the end of the day tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. So get on my calendar. On the consultation, we're going to get to know each other. So we're going to explore your goals, your current situation. I'm going to give you some recommendations. So no matter what, you're leaving with some gold nuggets, things that you can start implementing right now. And if this is a fit for you, if you decide that you want to participate and I see that you are a good fit for the program, then we can talk about next steps. But the first step is getting to know each other and making sure that this is a good fit for you. So if you want to explore, book your call now. Kelsie-Ann is going to drop the link in the comments. Oh, I see Jason was with us. I'm just seeing it now.
Yeah, I just saw it now too. I think he might still be.
All right. So hi, Jason, if you're still here. So Kelsie-Ann is going to drop in the comments the link to book your call. Find a spot that works for you. If you can't find something that works, just reach out to myself or Kelsie-Ann via DM, and we'd be happy to find something that works for you. Very exciting.
It is so exciting. So excited for this course.
Me too. I have lots of very excited people who can't wait to get started. I'm about to order the EQ mastery kits. We're working on sending out those welcome packages, and we're going to start onboarding people as soon as next week. So next week, people are going to get their packages. They're going to start doing their assessment and receiving that first one-on-one coaching session. Our first group session is going to be December 9th. So we need to get everyone onboarded by then. That is the goal. So if you want to get in, you need to get in my calendar and get our call and get you onboarded before that. All right. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.